Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Janice. This is my first wrap up of the year. I read 8 books in January, so let's talk about them. So to put them into categories, I have 5 physical books that I read this month and 2 on my iPad, and I heard 1 audiobook. So I started off this year with Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This came so fast, one of my favorite reads of all time, and this is a sports romance book. You follow Shannon and Johnny in this book. Shannon was bullied her whole life, and especially in school, so she goes to the Thomond of Boys College in a hope for a new, fresh start. And on her first day, she got hit by Johnny's rugby ball, so he hit her in her head. Of course, a great start to their romance story, but yeah, the story developed on from there. There is so much happening in this book. The plot twist, the friendships, the found family, everything in this book was made and written so well. You get attached to so many of these characters. You hate some of these characters so much. Like, seriously, I despise Shannon's father, and if you read this, you will understand, and I assure you, you will feel the same way about many of these characters, but especially Johnny. I feel she wrote him so well, and I didn't even know this, but a friend of mine told me that Johnny is actually based off Chloe Walsh's husband's character, basically. So I can't believe that his character is actually real, and this is insane because he's just not from this earth, in my opinion. He makes me blush. He makes me blush, guys. So yeah, I just love this one so much. If I could show you my reactions, I will, or I could show you some of the reactions of other YouTubers. I have this one girl in mind.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
I finished it in 4 days, guys. It took me no time because there is so much dialogue, which I personally love in books. It makes books so fast-paced for me. So yeah, this is my annotations for this one. I'm not even done, and I'm sure there's so much more to annotate, but I just love how this one turned out. And it has such a special place in my heart, and I just love and miss these characters so much. I finished this one in the 4th of January, and ever since I think about these characters every single day, especially the MMC in this book. I just love him so much, and I won't even deny it, because why would I? I just got so attached. So yeah, I will give this one 5 stars. If I had any criticism to give this book, it would honestly be the first chapters. There were some things that really made me almost the end of this book. I'm really glad I didn't, but there were just some topics that were so bad and were so unnecessary that could have been just left out of this book. Just so you know, there are some heavy topics. Definitely check out trigger warnings if you want to read this book, because what Shannon goes through, you wouldn't want anyone to experience what she had experienced. It's just so sad, and you get so emotional, and it's just such a emotional roller coaster. Happy, sad, crying, giggling, everything you can feel with these characters. But also there's a lot of cussing in here. If you don't like that, maybe don't read it, but in a whole, it didn't bother me. Like, it did bother me while reading it, but after finishing it, I wouldn't go back, honestly. After this one, I immediately had to pick up the next one, Keeping 13, also by Chloe Walsh, just because Binding 13 ended up on such a cliffhanger that I just needed to pick this one up. And this one is not annotated, but I definitely will soon, and I see myself rereading this one or the series in the future. I can't tell you so much about this one here because of course it picks up where the other one left off. But this one, again, 5 stars. There's definitely more romance in this one. Johnny Kavanagh, you have my heart, and I can't stop thinking about you, even though it's cringe me saying that, but believe me, if you read this, you'll understand. So yeah, 5 stars for The Boys of Tom and Siri. I just love the covers so much, and I'm so honored to have these two books. So after reading two romance heavy books, I wanted to finish Crown of Midnight because I started this in December, I guess, but I soft DNF'd this just because I started Binding 13. I couldn't focus on any other story. So after finishing Binding and Keeping 13, I picked this one up again, and wow. First of all, this is way shorter, but it felt way longer than these two books did. This one is like 400 pages, so half of how long Binding and Keeper 13 are, and there's so much happening in this book. If you don't know, this is part of a Throne of Glass series. This is the third one for me, and it was so good. You definitely shouldn't get distracted while reading the series because you need to be focused while reading this. Her writing is definitely hard. Her language or her English is harder than what you speak and what you normally read. Makes the writing style so unique. The ending was so unexpected. Like, I don't know how she came up with this ending. And if you don't know Sarah J Maas, she is known for her plot twists, and again, this one had such a crazy plot twist. It just made me excited to continue the series, and I'm currently in the middle of Era of Fire. This one I will definitely give 4.5 stars. Just didn't quite give me the 5-star feeling, because 5 stars for me comes with the feeling of a 5-star. It just didn't do this for me. Maybe because I soft DNF'd it. Maybe if I didn't like put this one off for like 3 weeks or something, I could have given 5 stars, but for now it is 4.5 stars. Loved it so much. This story is definitely taking a completely other path than the first two books. Like, it took a U-turn, and it's going something completely different from what would you have expected from the first two books. But we're not mad here. Like, we are kind of hooked and kind of on the edge of our seat. So thank you, Sarah J Maas, for doing this to us. After finishing a very heavy fantasy book, of course I needed like to switch up the genres. That's why I picked The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She wrote the Inheritance Game trilogy, but this one is a thriller, so you follow a murder scene, but I'm going to explain what the book is exactly about. You follow the main character, her name is Casey, and she got like invited to be one of the Naturals. The Naturals are basically a group of young people around my age. I'm 17, so they're around 17 years old, and they have special gifts. For example, Casey can put herself in the other person POV and figure out how they will act, how they think. Of course, we can do that. I personally can't do that, but she can. And the other 4 people in the Naturals have also different or similar gifts. The characters are so special, and I really like them. I did not connect to them in the first book too much because it's just such a short book. I don't feel we had the chance to really connect with them, but after picking the second one up, I definitely connected way more. And this one follows a different murder scene or serial killers or whatever you want to call it, but this one was so much more exciting for me. Like, I was definitely more scared in the second book, and I can't believe I'm saying this because it is actually YA, but I don't know, from the you person, if you read this, you will know there is this you person that, of course, you don't know their name, but the you is the serial killer, and you have also his or her POV, and they are creepy, kind of, or in my opinion, they are. But I also heard one review, and the person was also kind of scared, so I feel less alone when people share the same feeling that I have. I give this one 4 stars, the first one a 3.5, but I hear that the third book is even better. So I'm really excited to continue the series, and I feel like I'm going to finish it soon. If I feel like I'm ever going to go into a slump, I will definitely pick the series up because it's just great. It's so fast paced. It's, I don't know how he did it, but they're just so easy reads, and I love it, and sometimes really need this, especially after reading like heavy fantasy books, aka Sarah J Maas books. A break. Oh my god, it's so exhausting talking without a break. Oh my god. But we're actually almost finished. We have 3 books more to talk about. The one that I read was A Thousand Boy Kisses. I will put the cover in here. I was not planning to read this at all. It was not in my yearly TBR, but my best friend really wanted me to read it, so I gave it a shot. And what did I read? This was, I don't know how to say it, but it was so pure. If you could give a book this description, but it was pure, it was angelic, kind of, because of the FMC. The main character definitely has her own inner peace. I've never seen a female main character with more inner peace than this one had, and I annotated so much also in this book, and I don't usually annotate, but the 2 main characters were so cute, and I really liked this. I gave it 4 stars. It just was not realistic in my opinion than Binding and Keeping 13. And before you judge, now every romance book that I will read, I will just automatically compare it with Binding and Keeping 13 because these 2 books were top tier for me. So I did that, and I just found it not as realistic as other romance books because the female main character was so flawless. We are not like that. That's the only criticism that I had, but it was such a cute story. It's friends to lovers and childhood friends to lovers. You'll be warned, it does have a very sad plot twist that I did not expect, and it was just so heartbreaking, and I will not ruin it for you. If you want to find out, definitely give it a shot. But it was just so heartbreaking, but the ending was also so good that my best friend teared up. I didn't because I finished it so late. I just had no energy to cry, but it was definitely an emotional read, and I really enjoyed this. So yeah, for A Thousand Boy Kisses, 4 stars. Why is it so hard to speak today? I don't know. After this book, I was reading and hearing 2 books at the same time. I started the deal on my iPad and also started hearing or started the audiobook of The Hunger Games. I started The Hunger Games immediately after watching Songbirds and Snakes in the cinema because I was just so obsessed, especially with Snow, and I did not know he was evil in the first 3 books, but I figured it out. But yeah, the audiobook is so good. This is the first audiobook that I really enjoy. The narrator just speaks with emotions, and that's why it just made it so special and so fun to hear. I don't know if I have to explain The Hunger Games for you, but basically follow these trials that take place every year. 12 people get picked from these sectors, and you know, sector 12 is very famous in the story. So yeah, the main character is from sector 12, and she gets picked up with another boy from the same sector. So they go, and the goal in the Hunger Games is kill or be killed. So I found that so fascinating. I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely excited to hear the other 3 books on audio as well. I am not really in the mood to read a dystopian book because I don't know, I was just not in the mood for it, and I felt like reading it would put me in a slump, and I didn't want to do this to myself. So I just heard the audiobook, and it's great. Like, I'm having a good time, and I'll definitely hear the other books also on audios. I will say I'm just continuing the series because of Tom Blythe. I know he's not in the books, but just the movie was so good. It was chef's kiss. So the Hunger Games was a 4 stars for me. Really enjoyed it. I wasn't like so hooked, but at least I was concentrated and wanted to know the storyline. And for the deal, I enjoyed it and liked reading it, especially the first half of the book. After the 2 main characters got together, I was starting to get annoyed with them. That's why I give it like 3 stars. You didn't even see me, but I was so annoyed, and I was basically only reading this just to check off my A book of the month. That's the only reason I was reading this, but honestly, I would have loved to DNF it. Nothing special, would I recommend it? Not really. Definitely romance heavy, spice heavy. So that's it, you guys. It got very dark, so sorry for the lightning change. But yeah, thank you for watching. These are the 5 physical books that I read this month. The other 3 you should have seen on the screen already. So yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, I really appreciate you. I hope you could pick some recommendations out of this, and I'll see you in the next one.